So there's 4 billion women on the planet. I'm a black American from Louisiana. I have the choice to have the pick of the litter. So why would I pick you if you have multiple baby daddies?
Well, don't pick me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
You have the
understand
choice.
that.
You have the choice. We all
I
have
have
a
the
choice.
I have the choice, but you're
Yeah.
judging me on the fact that I have the choice.
I'm not judging you. That just means that I'm not for you. If you're gonna judge me because my second baby daddy didn't work out for me, then I'm not for you. You know, so I'm not judging
And
you
I
and your
understand that.
opinion.
How many
and
kids
your
you have?
preference. I have
To give you a piece of my mind.
Far from Normal Bros, and we back at it again. First of all, I'm gonna need you to tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a mother effing friend to follow and subscribe to your boys. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other podcast platforms as well. You can catch us on YouTube and TikTok. That's Far From Normal Podcast. Make sure you type that into a search engine and see the boys on those clips. We got everything for you. We got the website, www.farfromnormalpodcast.com. We got all the links up there. Make sure you check it out. Of course, YouTube. We're on Instagram as well. That's far_from_normal_podcast. Check it out. You already know it's your boy Fuzzy Vision. You know I see the world clear, and you know I see the future, and the future is bright. You already know Fuzzy Vision with 2 N's. If you have any likes, dislikes, rebuttals, or you want to be on the podcast, hit your boy up. Sonny, drop the handle, baby.
You already know what it is. It's your boy Sunny Frames. You can catch me on the gram at Sunny SONNY Frames double S at the end. Make sure when you do check out my Instagram page, check out my stories because I usually post a lot of stuff that has to do with motivation, inspiration, chasing your dream, and execution. So let's not forget, any dream that you're trying to achieve, the only way that you'll ever achieve it is through execution and putting a plan to motion. So make sure that you don't just stay in the dream world, and make sure you make it a reality.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
And Fuzzy, let's get him.
What's going on this weekend with you, man? The last 2 weekends, actually, because I know this weekend's been a little bit of a calm weekend for us, but I know the previous weekend we got into a lot of street festivals. You know, summer in Toronto. Toronto's one of the best cities when it comes to summer. A lot of shit's going on. We got a lot of street festivals, notably Caravana, of course. That's the one coming up in like August times, and that's like a pretty international thing, right? But we had Afrofest going on. And I want you to talk about that for a second. Afrofest was a dope situation we went to, and also Salsa in St. Clair. I was wanting you to talk about those street festivals, your thoughts on street festivals, especially as a person being from the city.
So it definitely kicked off our summer. I would say that Afrofest and Salsa on St. Clair are the 2 big festivals that kicks off the summer.
Yeah,
You know what
100%.
I mean? So a lot of people do come out. Salsa on St. Clair is a predominantly Latin-based festival. It's a Latin festival, I would say. And, you know, there's a lot of salsa dancing, bachata. No kizomba, which I'm surprised about because usually they group all of that together. But in that setting, you don't see that. But it's still a great place to go to.
You like the Latin culture? Like what draws you towards the Latin culture?
I like the dance. I like the rhythm because the rhythmic culture is very similar to African rhythmic music.
Yep.
So I do like the drums. I do like the style of dance. I enjoy salsa. Not that much of a big fan of bachata. It's a more slower pace, but salsa's a nice fast pace, something I enjoy. I love the spins, and the women are beautiful. So the Latin culture is a great culture. It's very, I would say exuberant. I would say that
definitely exuberant.
Yeah,
definitely
a lot of flair to it.
A lot of flair and flavor. And
Yeah,
also
flavor.
They do, you know, when they do describe a lot of Hispanic people, they say like spicy.
Yeah,
Latino,
spicy, yeah.
spicy. Like it does come with the territory. I think they do have that culture where they're very expressive.
Yes.
Like in things they do their dance.
Yes.
They're very cultural, very strong cultures
Yes.
that I like as well, especially musically and food wise as well. If you want a taco, burrito, empanada, all type of Latin food was there as well. So I thought that festival was great. You know, I thought it was perfect weather for us in Toronto. You know,
That
July
too,
is the
yeah.
time where we like can reap the benefits of Toronto, in my opinion. I feel like
100%.
beginning of July till at least, you know, mid-August
Yeah.
is your time to shine in Toronto, I'd say, because that's when the weather's the best usually. And that's when there's a lot of free festivals and lots of things going on where travelers are coming into the city
Yeah.
as well. Concerts are going
Yeah.
on, big events, big get-togethers, block parties. You remember that?
Yeah.
Block parties going on. So I think it's very dope in the city when they have that type of organization. I think that's the best time to be in the city. So for those listening, if you come to Toronto, definitely try and get here in the summer, because it's like the best time to me.
100%.
I think it's
That's
one of the most popping times in the city.
Yeah, that's when everybody comes out. That's when you can see different groups from all walks of life, from people that are coming into the city from different countries to people that live in the city. Everybody comes out at the same time. We tend to go to different cultural settings, try to see what's going on, get a better understanding of other cultures, and also enjoy the festivities that they got going on. So it's definitely a time to come out. Hopefully, when you do go out to these festivals, the weather holds up. You know, you don't want to be caught in the rain, although that doesn't stop a festival from going on.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, you would want to do that. Afrofest was another thing that
That's what I was gonna say. Definitely have to shout out Afrofest. That one was
big
good.
because it's getting better every single year, because Afrofest has now Afro beats is now taking over. It's starting to, have legs of its own. People are enjoying Afro beats. You're hearing it everywhere you go.
But what's your thoughts on like African culture like blowing up the way it does? Because Afrofest is a celebration of, Afro cultures, which would be considered African. Where do you see like the differences? Because Afrofest wasn't something we partaked in before, right? It wasn't something that was available or wasn't as popular, especially musically and culturally. Africans haven't been known to be the most popping musically 10 years ago compared to now, right? Where we're on the charts. You got big artists, Burna Boys, you got the Wiz Kids, you got Rama. There's so much different type of artists. So for you, what do you see when you see like a festival like this celebrating African culture blowing up the way it is? Like, what's your thoughts on the whole explosion of African culture, especially in North America?
Well, the reason why I believe that the music, Afrobeats in general, is starting to blow up is because a lot of the people that were born in countries outside of Africa, outside the continent, are now bringing their knowledge back home, and they're basically infusing both cultures, which makes that connection so both parties are able to listen to it and enjoy the music. So they have a flair of both sides. So they're able to attack the continent with music that they would enjoy, but at the same time, they could attack the Western culture and fuse the music together, which makes it a great sound for people to want to listen to that music and be interested in it.
Okay, yeah, no, I just find it dope, man. I feel like there was a time where Afro beats wasn't a thing. People didn't know what.
It's the diasporas. The diasporas are really
Pushing
coming in strong, and they're really pushing it.
I wouldn't say just that. I think because if I remember correctly, most artists that are popping, I would say, are probably born in Africa. I'd say probably majority are born in Africa. The ones that are
You are correct. You are correct, but they're also very influenced by Western culture at the same time.
So I think that's where they
Yeah.
managed to get into maybe the North American markets,
Yeah.
because they were collaborating with artists from here. Because I know Wiz Kid was collaborating with like the likes of Drake, the likes of Chris Brown, and I know a lot of artists started collaborating with artists. Ed Sheeran. So you start to see like big collaborations. But yeah, I just found that dope. And like I said, the Afrofest was an amazing festival. There was concerts going on. That was for free.
Yeah.
Of course, many people from obviously all walks of the world were there, because in Toronto is one of those cities that's like multicultural. So you're not going to go to one festival, whether it's a Latin festival, Ukrainian festival, African festival, Jamaican festival, you're always gonna see different people there. That's the good part of Toronto that I'll have to say I like is the diversity of cultures where you don't feel like it's so segregated, or you don't feel like, you know, there's no room to learn about other people's culture. But beyond that, when you were out there on the streets, did you notice anything in these street festivals? Because it's summertime now.
Yes.
You know how people come. You know, people are trying to
100%.
dress to impress. So what'd you like see out there? Or even when you go out in general in the summertime, like what?
So one thing I've
what do you
noticed and
notice?
I've picked up on is in Western society is that a lot of women, when it comes to summertime, they tend to dress very provocatively, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of skin exposure, and they're dressing in certain outfits that's very revealing. You know?
Skin out.
Oh yeah, for sure, very
Oh, yeah.
revealing. They got guys foaming from the mouth, salivating
facts,
like
big
you know,
facts.
like canines, right? For good reason, you know. Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for bad reasons. But I believe that some of the girls go a little too far in the sense that they never put in the work in the wintertime, you know, to get their body right, but they still feel that they deserve the same privilege as women that do put the time in the gym and get their body right for the summertime so they could show off their body. They feel that they're at the same level and they shouldn't get any type of criticism for them wanting to expose their body. And now I sit there and I think in my mind, does this make sense? Because we shame people. It's not like shaming is not a thing.
Yeah.
In society, we understand that shame is a thing. So we shame drug dealers or drug addicts. We shame drug addicts. We shame homeless people. We shame alcoholics. But when it comes to shaming food addicts, there's a pause. There has to be a limit to
Hold
shaming.
up. Well, wait a second. Yeah, there's always a pause moment when it comes to that. And I find that funny because, there's a famous quote that says, don't let your confidence blind your ability, right? So at the end of the day, when you have confidence in yourself, there has to be competence that's accompanied with your confidence. So again, you can't say, like, it's just like saying, you know, you're a personal trainer, but you're 300 pounds overweight. It's like, it doesn't matter what you know in your head. Your perceptions already told the whole story, right? Someone's not going to want to listen to you in order to get advice about being fit, regardless if you're qualified or not, right? So I think that just people have to just understand how the perception is. So for example, when people come outside, women, men, it doesn't matter who it is, but when you want to dress however you want, which that's up to you. You want to dress however you want to dress skimpy, you want to show your cleavage, you want to show your ass, you want to do whatever you want to do. No, I won't say no one cares. But you can do whatever you want. Fine, you have that ability, but
Be prepared for criticism, I believe.
that's what you should be prepared for. So if people, you know, don't like what they're seeing, because sometimes honestly it's disgusting. Some of the shit I'm seeing outside here, you know, this is to some of you women. Like you guys got to cover up some of that. You know, I don't walk around
Sloppy
showing certain
jalopies.
shit. I don't want to see certain girls walking around showing certain shit. And of course, there's standards to this, and that's the same thing. Like for a guy, if you've seen a guy that was shirtless, like if a woman seen a man that was shirtless and he's chiseled, they're not gonna have a problem with him being shirtless. But I guarantee you, if he had a big beer belly with hair on his belly and hair on his chest and hair on his back, women wouldn't appreciate a man walking outside like that.
Of course.
But they wouldn't mind the Baywatch guy.
Yeah, but
Baywatch
that
babe,
would
like
basically
they
be
say.
it would be considered as indecent exposure.
Indecent exposure. So it is dependent on your physique. Unfortunately, sometimes that's dependent on your health. Now, you can be healthy and not have a physique that suggests that. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people that egregiously are maybe out of shape or dress a certain way where their stomach's flopping out of their pants like a muffin when you put it in the bake.
A muffin top,
a muffin top when you put it into bake and it's leaking off the tray. Like, that's crazy to me. So I just think that, you know, in North America, we're a little bit loose in the way we judge things and the way we and we're not honest with ourselves. Like, to be fair, people may look at this and be like, oh, you're rude, you're this, you're that. But it's like, hey, at the end of the day, I'm not going up to these people and gonna tell them, this looks bad, this looks like this looks like that. It's not any of my business to go confront them or tell them that. But the fact of the matter is that everyone sees, everyone notices, and it's not just me that has this opinion. It's just others have this opinion. I just find it
just we
amazing.
Can't voice it. That's the problem.
Yeah, I just find it amazing how some people act like judgment will not fall on you just because it's mean, rude, or harsh. I think people are judged all the time. If you have beat up sneakers on, people will say your shoes are raggedy. You got to change them. If you had a shitty,
or if your hair is not done,
stain on your shirt, hair not done. We criticize a lot of things internally. Obviously, to a stranger, we wouldn't say it, but at the end of the day, I think we do got to do better. I don't like to see certain stuff, and I think that like a lot of the women nowadays, they're getting out of hand with the outfits, especially the ones that are not taking care of themselves.
And the craziest thing about it is that they're so quick to point out a man's flaws.
Yes,
when it comes to how they dress, how much they make, their height,
some things that can't be controlled.
Some things that can't be controlled, and they're very quick to point those things out. But the moment a man starts to break them down and see what they're working with and see if they match up even with them, they feel butthurt. They get butthurt from that.
Well, I think it's just simply like overvaluing yourself. I think some women and men, you guys can't overvalue yourself with no proof of your value at the end of the day. I think there's a lot of this overvaluing in this society. Like we're talking about, they don't want you to shame people for certain things, especially like about your body. They'll call you body shaming, right? And in this society they have stuff like fat. What's it called? Fat positivity? What? Body positivity. I'm even calling it wrong. They're gonna call me a big whatever you want to call it. Fat positivity, body positivity,
body positivity.
Ignore what's in front of you. Call it what you want. That's what I call it. But the point of the matter is that they try and be so PC in this culture. I think that's dangerous. If you're too PC, always trying to appease to people's emotional state and not trying to offend people, I think that causes issue.
I think it weakens people. I think it just weakens their level of their skin. Like they no longer have thick skin, so everything becomes very flimsy, very
fragile. Yes, and their ego is very paper thin. So like anything will break their confidence because they're in such a utopian world where oh no, you're doing great, you're good, you look good, until you go into a different country and then they actually have standards and disciplines.
And they will tell you, like, especially if it's a direct country that speaks directly, especially in the East, they will tell you. If you're overweight, they will tell you.
Well, I seen a funny thing on Japan. That was pretty funny. A woman was sitting there with some like Americans or something, and she's Japanese, they're in Japan. And she basically was saying like, oh, like I've never seen this much big people like in my life. And then they're like, oh, really? While they're eating. And then she's like, yeah. And she's like, well, because in Japan, they're very disciplined. And in Japan, we believe in harmony.
Yes.
So if you're too big, you stand out too much. So you're disrupting the harmony in society. And then it goes like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, yes, ma'am, yes. You are destroying our harmony. I was dying. I'm just like, it's hilarious, like how other cultures,
like feng shui.
Yeah, and she said it bluntly, right?
Yeah.
If I said that, like people might think you're insensitive or something like that. But she's just saying what the truth is behind the culture. It's like you're ruining the harmony. Like you're too big. You're standing out too much.
Yeah,
there has to be balance.
They also say any nail that stands out, they have to hammer it down. That's
absolutely that's a good saying. Yeah,
right.
Any nail that's sticking up, you have to hammer it down for sure.
You can't let
any nail poking out.
Exactly. So
it'd be dangerous in the future.
Exactly, for sure. So yeah, speaking of the topic that we're talking about and how women are so easily, it's very easy for them without thinking to criticize a person, a man specifically, for the way they dress, for what they say, because
money they make,
the height, what kind of height they are. It's very easy for them to pick at that
tonality
and then not expecting that the man will defend himself and also bat the question right back at them and
I think sometimes people don't realize when the mirror's reflected back at you, you're gonna have to answer the same question.
Exactly.
So a lot of the times we find ourselves, criticizing somebody on a smaller issue when we have worse issues that are reflecting at us in the mirror. So speaking on that, I want to get into the clip we were talking about, because I think this is like, clear examples of sometimes overvaluing yourself.
Yes.
In life, we have to understand where we're at, who we are,
Yeah.
what we deserve, what we don't deserve. And I think that, this ideology that we deserve it all has to come to an end. Like, I
Definitely
think that we
false.
have to be realistic on what we deserve in life and what we should command in life, what we should get in life. I don't think you can get it all in life. I think there's going to be certain things you're able to get and certain things you're not able to get, depending on decisions you made in your life, past and present.
And you have to accept those decisions and whatever comes with those decisions. We cannot not take any accountability on decisions that we made on our own free will. And I believe that a lot of women tend to do that.
Yes, sir. 100%.
And so we're going to review this video and see what the public thinks about this specific
Let's get it. Pop a
video.
balloon or find love. Let's see what's going on with this one.
Janae?
Janae, what do you do?
I'm in school for fashion design. I'm an office assistant, and I'm a new entrepreneur. Just about to launch my fitness clothing line called WeFit.
Okay.
Okay, and why did you end up popping your balloon for Brian?
Hey, Brian. I love the way you speak, but for me, it was the pants. I don't like the pants too tight. I'm kind of ghetto too, so I like them a little loose, and that was just it for me.
So let's just stop it right
Let's
there.
stop there.
34.
So there's a lot going on right there.
I think there's a lot going on, and I think we have to discuss what's happening here. So obviously it's a
That's
dating
everything.
show. The point of the show is that you pop a balloon to find love,
Yeah.
right? So contestant comes on, the contestants that are lined up are the ones that have a balloon, and they'll pop it dependent on who shows up. So it can be men or women on that line. This time it's women, and there's a man that's the guy looking to find love. They all are, but the main contestant would be the man trying to figure out which woman is the best to date there. And he's asking her questions about herself. And the first thing she said, because she popped the balloon, was that the jeans were too tight. She's a little bit ghetto. She did say she's a little bit
mention
ghetto.
yep.
And the jeans are a little too tight for her. That was her reasoning for popping the balloon.
So basically what she's saying is that she wants a guy that has baggier jeans or baggier pants.
So more of a hood guy, I guess.
Yeah, so-
Maybe more street.
But she did say ghetto, so I'm assuming more street, more urban.
So, but pay attention to those words. So
Yeah.
she said she's ghetto.
Yes, that's very important. That's a
Very important line.
very important line. It's a key component, so just keep paying attention to that.
So let's get back into this video and let's see what the gentleman here has to say.
4.
34?
Mhm.
How many kids you got?
I got 3.
You got 3?
Yep.
How many baby
Fair
daddies?
use.
I have 3.
You got 3 baby
3 baby.
daddies?
Pause
I
it.
should've
Pause
said
it, brother.
0.
Pause it. 3 baby dads, 3 babies. Explain yourself, ma'am. Explain yourself.
I'm
I
sorry.
need to know.
I'm sorry, but women like this are hazardous in the dating world. And,
Ticking time bomb.
So,
landmine.
some people are going to look at it, and the other women, I know other women are going to have their own qualms.
Yes.
That me saying that, but any man that has any type of faculties will understand that a woman with 3 baby dads in the dating world is like, that's the biggest red flag. And in Western society, you might get away with it. You might find a sucker that will take you on and, date you. But if you go to any other country outside the Western world, they will not touch you with a 10-foot pole.
But the thing is, you have to remember about this, because even if women have qualms over this, so for example, women that we know that are watching this
Yes.
video and they're like, wow, you guys are so, messy, getting into her business and whatnot. But we do have to look at this situation and we do have to understand the gravity of it. She's
Yes.
on a dating show.
Yep.
And she's saying that she has 3 baby daddies and 3 kids.
First of all, who's bringing these type of contestants on a show like that?
That's why I'm looking at the screening. You know, this is I blame blame the person that created this video.
Yes,
whoever is the organizer,
producer.
What are we doing? Are we just taking anything? Because to me, I'm not gonna say
they're passing off time bombs. They're passing off time bombs.
This is not what we consider as a quality woman. And if this was a man, it wouldn't be a quality man. I mean, if he had 3 baby mothers and
all of them would have popped the balloon.
The woman wouldn't even hear the story, let alone, ask the question of how this came to be. So we can't be ridiculous. Like, at the same time, like, this woman, she's burnt toast. She's been in the toaster for far too long. Obviously burnt. There's not much use for her. I'll be honest.
And the worst part about that whole
and she could be a good woman.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
The thing that's crazy about the whole debacle is she's complaining about his tight jeans when she has bigger problems to worry about than what kind of jeans he's got on.
And like I said, the woman herself, I don't know her personally. I don't know her life. I'm not saying she's a bad mother. I'm not saying any of those things. But what I am saying is that she dealt with 3 different men on 3 different occasions, had 3 babies for 3 different men. You tell me if that's a woman you would allow your son to marry. Because a lot of women have a lot of issues until it's put on them and put on someone in their family member.
Yeah.
You tell me if you would suggest for your brother to go marry a woman with this type of
baggage
and track record.
Yes.
You're going to be baby daddy number 4 and counting, according to her history, because she doesn't stop at one baby dad.
Yes.
So just to put things in perspective of how, or why it's good to advise men to stay away from certain women, because I, in good faith, wouldn't tell my son to date a woman like this. So I wouldn't tell, in good faith, people that follow me, people that mess with me, to do the same. I would tell them, absolutely not, off the table, burnt toast, done.
100%.
That's me.
Yeah. I have nothing else to say about that. Let's continue.
Well, we can continue in the video. Let's go.
Yep.
Because it's just me.
You gonna lie to the public?
No, I have 3, but it's just me. I'm a single parent. There's no man in my life.
No man.
Man in your life? Why is the reason for there no man in your life?
Well, my first child, his father passed away, and the other 2 are nowhere to be found.
Whoa. So let's stop it right there.
She said,
so we're not gonna just skip past that. Like, that's kind of
like, it gets worse and worse. That's
what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot to unravel over there because we're talking about. She said her first baby dad passed away. We have no idea how he passed away.
Yeah.
She just said passed away. That's very general. She did say she was ghetto, and she said that the man's pants are too tight. She likes it a bit baggy. So therefore, her track record is telling me that she must have been dealing with some hood affairs.
Regardless, she's dealing with men.
I don't know. I'm just saying it could be a possibility.
It's screaming red flags.
Exactly.
That's the point of the matter.
And the reason why it's screaming red flags is because then she goes on to the next 2 guys, and she talks about she doesn't even know where they at.
Poof, gone.
They just disappeared. How's that work?
Well, she doesn't know.
Well, obviously her screening is terrible.
Yeah, like, she doesn't know. She has no clue why they.
So they just kind of.
No, they just disappeared, buddy. That's all she said. She's like, I have no clue.
So they just kind of hit it and quit it. They just disappeared.
She provided no answer, no accountability for the men she chose. That's the point of the matter.
Yeah.
She said she doesn't know where these men are. Well, first of all, you should have said that the men are not involved in the children's lives instead of saying you don't know where the men are, because that's even worse.
Because she didn't mention anything about being taken advantage of. So therefore, it was both in agreement that the man that she was with at the time that she had these children were in agreement in fornication.
Of course.
Right? So how do you not know where they are?
That
tells me a lot.
This is another red flag again. Like, I don't know how much red flags, and I don't know which women would.
Flagrant 2 on the play. Yeah. Can we throw a red card over there? You're out of there, baby.
Out of there. But I just don't understand, like, what woman would advise you to pick up that woman? Like,
one that doesn't worry about what's gonna happen to you as an individual.
Absolutely.
But if you put it back on them, and if they had a son, they would understand what the answer would be.
Absolutely.
Let's
get back to this.
Wrong with them?
Something. Only God
Or
knows.
is there something wrong with you?
Possibly. But I think I'm just fine.
I think you're just fine as well.
Thank you.
Right. But to say that a 41-year-old man,
Oh, you got a little game.
he's
Little game,
disqualified
man.
because of his pants,
You're 41?
I'll be 41 in September.
Okay, because I was like, I thought you said 40.
I'll be 41 in September. That's coming up.
I like it. It's okay for you. It's not my style.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with everything going on, I like the pants to be a little baggy. That's
So
all.
Where you
that's
from, love?
let's pause it right there. So that's a little, see right there, that was a little insinuation of the culture that's going on in Western society.
Yes, that is. She did give you a
That's
hint.
why she said that.
She's like, with everything going on, and I think she was hinting at.
That's what she was hinting at.
You know what she was hinting at.
I know what she was hinting at, and basically she was just making that clarification
Yeah.
of why she wanted baggy.
Well, I'll say what she was clarifying. I'll clarify it. She's obviously referencing the rainbow community in that
Yes.
sense.
Yeah.
She's saying with everything going on, she likes it to be baggy. She doesn't want a man that seems like he may be extra flamboyant
Yes.
or, you know,
She doesn't want to question his
she doesn't want to
masculinity.
question the masculinity behind him.
So that's what the main thing and main point on her end, that where a gentleman that's wearing tight pants doesn't represent masculinity, but a man that's wearing baggy pants, for her, in her own opinion, represents.
But clearly her opinion is correct because
Yeah.
she has a baby father that's no longer in this world, and she has two that completely disappeared. But she obviously knows.
She has answers.
She knows exactly what type of men she should be vetting.
Yes, of
because
course,
she
of course.
understands how to vet a good man.
Of course. Let us continue.
Okay. How long you been out here?
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Let's go on over here. We can have your name and age.
I am Venusian, 39.
And you said Venusian? And what do you do?
I'm a TikTok creator manager.
Cool. And why did you end up popping your balloon?
I'm a free-spirited woman, so having to check in with somebody like they are my parent is something that I don't subscribe to. So that's why I pop my balloon.
What do you mean check in like they're your parent?
The way that you were discussing how somebody needs to constantly, when we're out and about, to text or call and check in, that's something that I don't subscribe to.
So let's pause it right there.
That's just respect to me.
So that right
Courtesy.
there, okay. What some women don't understand is when you're in a relationship, that means you are no longer independent to a certain degree. That means that you always have to take in consideration that you have a partner. So if you decide to go out and to show respect to your partner, you're going to let them know where you are. And it's not about checking in 24/7. It's just that if anything ever happens to you, they'll know where you were last. But some women feel like their sovereignty has been taken away. And if you feel like that, why be in a relationship?
That's why I say
That's
be in that relationship because
it doesn't make sense.
if you feel like you're being enslaved,
Yes.
and someone is dictating to you and you're oppressed,
Yes.
then don't be in a relationship. If you think that somebody asking you to call them and let them know where you're at, especially if you're not around them and you're not with them,
Yes.
for them to have the expectation of you checking in, and it is checking in, you have to check in with your person you're with. I would expect to check in with a woman I was with.
Of course, if they ask me questions, yeah.
Or if I was at a place she didn't know what was going on. If I was at an event, I'll check in. If I traveled somewhere, I'll check in. It's a sign of respect for somebody that you're actually dealing with. So the fact that she views it as some sort of parental disciplinary action is ridiculous.
Well, it also tells you where her mind state's at too, right?
She wants to be free, so be free. Don't be in a relationship. I don't understand women that have these stipulations, but then want to find a man that fits into those categories. When it's like, these are basics, you know. These are not even the hard parts of a relationship.
Yes.
Checking in, man. That's like the
Are you
most
serious?
simplest of things to do in a relationship.
I know.
And you're making that a deal breaker. But again, as women, you know, sometimes age, the laundry list of requirements starts to become even more ridiculous. That's what I noticed. Because again, ma'am, you're a grown woman. Obviously, you're not checking in with another person.
He's not a slave
treating
driver.
you like a child. Obviously, you're grown. You're gonna tell your partner where you're at. Tell your person where you're at. It's not about checking in. So I think she is very defensive in the sense of how she's, defending her point.
I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is that it's more of a Western mentality where they believe in this being this liberalism, that that whole idea of being liberal and being free and having no real rules, no principles.
I hate it, to be honest.
No type of standard. There's no type of hierarchy. Like everything
No
should
rules,
be up in the air. Everything should be in limbo. We should make the rules as we go along.
Make them together.
Yes.
And it has to work for both of us.
There's no type of structure. And this is where people start messing up, because there's no structure in your life. And then when there's no structure in your life, you start making decisions, and permanent decisions, that tends to ruin you moving forward. So let's continue with this video and see what else she has to say.
Pop my balloon.
Okay. What do you do?
I'm a TikTok creator manager.
TikTok creator manager? For what company? Or is it for yourself?
It's for TikTok.
For TikTok?
Social media.
Okay. Social media?
Social media agent, yes.
Okay. How many kids you have?
I have 2.
How many baby daddies?
2.
2? Okay. So you didn't think after the first one that you wanted to marry the next one?
No.
No? Okay. Okay. I was just asking because for men, that's what matters. Your first one is given. Your second one, the mistake is on you.
Always.
All right, let's pause this.
That's definitely.
So this is what's funny about this show. So again, we said you pop the balloon based on the attraction firstly. So the woman would keep the balloon when he comes out. If they're attracted to him, they'll keep the balloon. Or if they're interested to see what he has to say, they'll keep the balloon. Well, obviously he's at the stage where a couple women have kept the balloon, and now he's talking to the ones that have popped it. About 4 women have popped it, about out of like say 8. So he probably had like 3 to 4 balloons left. Anyways, he gets to this woman. And what question did he ask? He said, how many kids do you have? She answered 2.
2, yeah.
He then goes, how many baby fathers do you have? She says 2. He says, oh, you never decided to marry that? You never decided to marry the second guy? Why didn't you decide to marry the second guy?
Once he said that,
that was all the balloons got popped.
Yeah.
So women, what men have to understand is women are very sensitive about words.
Yes.
They're very much emotional when it comes to certain words that trigger them. Mm-hmm. So I think men have to understand this. So I think a lot of times when we do get in relationships or situationships, when you're seeing someone dating somebody, sometimes you've probably been in these scenarios where you've said something and you may have not thought it to be offensive, but then maybe later down the line you found out you said something that was offensive that maybe made that relationship not work because you were insensitive about a certain topic, or you had a certain opinion that was, far off from her own. Because women get triggered quickly by words. And let that be a lesson to men. Now, it's not to say that you're wrong or that you're, overly offensive. I don't think what he said was offensive.
Yes.
But women seem to not like men that are above average in their conscientiousness.
Yes.
If they're above average in conscientiousness and they can see between the lines and they can call you out on your bullshit, a lot of women do not like that. They don't like the strength of that type of man.
Yes.
They believe that to be a sort of arrogance, a sort of machismo vibe, something that they don't like. So I notice when men have that, sense, that intelligence, that intellect to ask the right questions, to dissect the woman that they're trying to get with or not get with, I think that offends a lot of women.
No, I think what the problem is with women and what they feel is the issue is in their head. I think they're looking at how arrogant is he to ask me more question, more detail about my life. They feel so supremely what's the word that I'm looking for? They feel so
Untouchable.
superior.
Untouchable.
Yeah, no, they feel so superior that when they look at a man, they always want to keep everything surface level. So now when the man starts asking more questions than usual, now it's like, how dare this peasant
Question me.
How dare this peasant question
Off
you?
with his head.
Exactly. So they hold themselves in a royal standard, right?
Yes, they hold themselves to like a golden standard.
They're on this high horse where it's like, how dare this peasant stand before me and ask me why I'm on my horse?
There you go. So a lot of high horse riding for a lot of these chicks.
Yeah.
And then when someone takes you off the high horse, then it's
Then it becomes
oh, this guy's problem.
once he starts
he's getting aggressive.
when he asks you to dismount off your horse and let's speak face to face. Oh, how dare you? That is a no.
Yeah.
You don't do that as a peasant. You don't do it.
You don't do that.
Yeah, so
That's crazy. We can get back into this. Her segment's almost done, but she has 2 baby dads, 2 kids. This is a great panel.
Oh, yeah.
This is a great list of casting.
that definitely gives
Great
you a
casting
different perspective on women and how like lowly they look. Well, in the Western society, it shows you how they look at men, and when you're too conscientious, how problematic that can be. Because if you're asking too much details, you're basically showing. You're putting a mirror to their face, and they don't like it.
Yeah, because that guy, like I said, he lost his other opportunities just because of questions he was asking.
Yes.
Like I said, he never got offensive, really.
Yes.
He just said, you never thought to marry the next man you're with, right? And then he said his opinion on the fact that the first one's a mistake. We'll give you that one, even if you had multiple with one guy. But the second guy, that's on you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the second girl that has now mentioned that she had more than one baby dad. So he was going to address it at some point.
And at the end of the day, it's simple accountability.
Yes.
Like, at the end of the day, she might not like what he's saying, but what he's saying is true.
Yes.
Like, you're jumping from man to man.
Yes.
Without any serious thought of getting into a relationship. He's here for a relationship, potentially marriage.
Yeah.
So the questions he's asking are actually valid.
And also come back down to being too liberal, where you're not taking accountability of the decisions that you're making, and you want to pass it off as it's not your fault or it's under certain conditions or circumstances. But if you had a structure in your life and you had certain principles that you followed, you wouldn't be in this predicament, and you wouldn't be on this show looking to date somebody.
There you go.
To fill in the stepdaddy role and, having some kind of influence on your kids.
Absolutely. So we can go ahead and get to the video. Like I said, this casting call that they had here, it's a special one, I'll be honest.
But
right.
that's nor here or there, and that's not what I'm here for.
Okay, definitely. You're a beautiful woman, though.
Thank you.
But I respect your answer.
Thank you. Let's go back here. Okay.
But definitely the other women will feel that woman was being bullied. I can tell that's how the other women have received the energy he gave to them.
Yes.
So they're going to always, mind you, women will always ride with each other when it's against men.
Yes.
They will always ride for each other and will not allow a man to get the best of their fellow women. Mm-hmm. So we can get back to that.
I'm Shay and I'm 37.
How you doing, Shay?
Amazing.
Shay, what do you do?
So I work for the county.
You good?
And I have my own hair business and a few other little small businesses.
Right. And why did you end up popping your balloon?
So originally I was feeling it.
So we could skip through this and go right to 1435.
The question of, I feel like you're challenging the women.
We're going to get right to 1435.
Yeah, there's other women on the panel that are having discussions of why they popped their balloons.
But they're not as...
that's not the point we wanted to get to. We want to get to specific women just because we're talking about overvaluing yourself. And
yes.
Where these women are coming on this dating show. And of course, you can come and date whoever you want with all the baggage you want in the world. But again, we're going to judge it. That's what we do. That's what people do on the internet. That's what people do in life.
Yes.
These aren't the best candidates that are looking for love, to be fair. I would never want to be in this type of pool, I'll be honest. It seems pretty disastrous, to say the least.
Yep.
Go.
What do you do?
I'm a compliance analyst for a payment processing company.
Okay. And why did you end up popping your balloon?
I popped my balloon. I was waiting because I was trying to feel the energy, the vibe, the connection, chemistry. And I believe he was speaking very well, very suave, handsome gentleman. So I was trying to give it some time. But then it started to feel like an attack. And I didn't like or agree with the attack. So that was why I popped my balloon.
Okay. So you say it felt like an attack. Can you elaborate on that?
You don't judge people from their past, or you like to start off with a clean slate. I don't think that if a relationship works out for a woman and it happens to be her second baby daddy per se, I don't think that's her fault. So if she decides to stay and marry the man, like Brian says, then that means she's settling. And I don't agree with a woman having to settle just because the opinions of others thinking that, it's going to be her fault. It's her fault because it didn't work out. No.
Okay, let's pause it right
Because
there.
people...
She said a lot, actually. She said a lot. And I'm going to start off by addressing how she mentioned that it felt like an attack.
Yeah, I did want to talk about that.
So when she said it felt like an attack, all he mentioned was the facts that she gave to him.
Absolutely.
Right? And
he asked the question.
And he asked the question of
you
why
didn't think to marry the second guy.
That was a legitimate question. That was a legitimate question. There was no attack there. There was a question because he's curious to know your thought process on that specific situation.
But what I'm starting to realize is that a lot of women don't like when men hold them accountable for things they've done. So I feel like in that scenario, like just being honest and being real, and even those watching the video, it was all the simple fact of accountability. That's mainly what the guy's questions were directed towards.
Yeah.
All the women he asked what their current scenario was, they never said that they picked the wrong man. Did you hear any of them say that they picked the wrong man?
No.
Did any of them say that it was my decision to pick these men?
No.
To have kids with the men?
No.
To not be with the men? They never said anything that implicated themselves being complicit in the man that they chose.
And this is what I was talking about earlier.
And this is where the ridiculousness of what she's saying comes into play, where she's like, you're attacking them. It's like, I'm not attacking them. They're not holding themselves accountable for the men that they've dealt with in the past. And moving forward, if that was a potential possibility, because this is a dating show, so his questions are valid not only for himself but for others that are watching the show. These are humans. These people can date other people outside. So he actually gave valuable information to everybody, the audience and all. Not just for himself, because these girls popped the balloon already. He doesn't have nothing to gain by asking them questions of their personal life. But I did notice that on this show, he asked the most personal questions to really find out who they truly were. Because I think a lot of people skipped over these questions, trying to be more PC, trying to be more polite, more, easygoing and, chill, instead of stern and having expectations or demanding answers. I think he just came here looking for the answers. And when someone comes like this, honest, confident, asking questions, not being offensive, not being rude, I think that just threw them off, where they're like, you know what, you're judging us, you're acting like you're better than us. We can't.
I'll tell you what his flaw was, because we never mentioned that at the beginning. His flaw was he came in there and he said, every woman he talks to, he said, I'm not shallow to look at your past and judge you based off your past. When you're with me, everybody starts at a clean slate, and he doesn't have no deal breakers. So when you say stuff like that, but then you go down the list.
So he had his flaws.
Yeah, so you come down the list and then you start picking at, certain things are now, you're really asking the question. You should have been, from the gate, from the jump, you should have been like, okay, these are my deal breakers. Do I judge you off the past? Yes, your past makes your future. So I need to know where you stand now. What did you do in the past, and what's continuing? Are you continuing to make those same bad decisions, or are you moving forward? So I need to understand your past in order so I can see where the future lays. Although it doesn't always determine your future, but there's certain decisions that you make in the past that are permanent decisions, such as having 3 baby daddies
I
or
think
2
those,
baby
yeah,
daddies.
those are very serious.
Those are very serious, and that tells me the level of negligence that you have.
Yes, especially in dating. You went through 3 men, you went through 2 men.
Yeah, and
This
now
is not
you
a
want me to
common
pick
thing.
up the slack because those guys are clearly not in your life. Hence why you're on the show.
And she said they weren't in her life. She's single. She's a single mom.
Exactly, and
so
now
single mom with 3 kids with 3 baby fathers that are not in the picture.
And you're here on the dating
track
show.
record, like I said, it's immaculate.
I mean, I'm sorry, but it definitely has to be addressed.
So we can go ahead.
They start off with different personas and then you slowly kind of learn who they really are. So if you decide to walk away because that situation isn't healthy for you, that doesn't mean that it's your fault that it didn't work out.
Okay. So there's 4 billion women on the planet. I'm a Black American from Louisiana. I have the choice to have the pick of the litter. So why would I pick you if you have multiple baby daddies?
Well, don't pick me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
You have the
understand
choice.
that.
You have the choice. We don't have a choice.
I have the choice, but you're judging me on the fact that I have the choice.
I'm not judging you. That just means that I'm not for you. If you're going to judge me because my second baby daddy didn't work out for me, then I'm not for you. You know, so I'm not judging
And
you
I
and
understand
your
that.
opinion.
How many
and
kids
your
you have?
preference. I have 3.
You have
25,
3?
18, and 12.
Okay, how many baby daddies?
2.
2.
Yep.
Okay.
There it is.
So there's no disrespect towards that, right? But I just want you to understand when it comes to a man of top tier, right? We give you a few from one man. That's it. If you have multiple from a different man, that disqualifies yourself.
So it disqualifies a top tier woman from getting a top
That's
tier
exactly
man.
right. Why? Because there's billions of women on this planet.
There you go.
So let's pause it right there.
Let them say it real. There's billions of you in this world. If you come with a lot of flaws or issues that others don't come with, you better believe you're going to be at the back of the line.
100%, and that is a true statement. And I think that's
never said
but this is where I say that women, in the West, they overvalue themselves, and also they're on their high horse where they believe that even with the flaws that they have, such as having 3 baby daddies, 2 baby daddies.
Yo, this is even unbelievable thinking. 3 baby daddies is unbelievable.
Yeah, no, that one's crazy. But then after,
we're downplaying this.
We also that's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
And all not in the picture. All not in the picture.
Yes, and
we're very much
nobody,
downplaying this.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is definitely no. I said it was hazardous. She shouldn't be on the show. She shouldn't be in the dating market. Period. Like, she should take whoever wants to come your way and wants to assist you on your journey of life and be in a relationship with you. You need to go with that guy immediately.
No options,
right? Because, I mean, again, that's the arrogance of some of these women where they believe that they could still command multiple men. And I also have to blame the men for that too, because they're also gassing them up, talking about how beautiful these women are, and I'm gonna give you the world. I'm gonna give you.
But see, I don't love those men because it's like those men do that sometimes for their own ulterior.
Yes, of course.
It's like you want to sleep with the woman. Yes. Again, the woman with the 3 kids on this show. It's no knock against her beauty. She's actually
she's a beautiful woman. 100%.
Actually, a beautiful woman, and plenty of guys will want to be with her until they hear of her scenarios.
Of course.
But again,
and she would omit the truth in order to be with this.
Yes,
these
and
guys.
that's typically what you're gonna have to do when you make those big mistakes in life. You're gonna kind of have to play that game and maybe not suggest that you have 3 kids at the beginning or mention your situation with your baby dads. These are things that will come later when emotional investments are already there. But again, she will be able to get picked up by a guy, but I'm not too sure how long a relationship would realistically last with her track record. And who am I to judge? Like, if a guy wants to take her responsibility and the burden of her, by all means, go ahead and take that burden. But like I said, this is not advice I'd give to my child. It's not advice I give to your child. This is not advice I give to any of my close friends or anything of that nature. So anytime we talk, we're talking about what we would do and what we wouldn't tell others to go do.
Yeah,
so
especially our circle of friends.
This is to give advice to a lot of men, because a lot of men find themselves in these situations and don't really know or haven't heard of similar scenarios. So they just believe, oh, I'm in love. Oh, I mess with her. Oh, she likes the same things as me. But it's like, what's her track record looking like? Does she have, a history of bad decision making? And you can just look at certain things. Like, of course, this is a situation of baby fathers or baby daddies, which is the most egregious of things because, again, you got with 3 guys, didn't marry any of them, had kids with 3 of them.
Yeah.
You clearly don't like to stay in a relationship. You clearly are bouncing around from man to man to man because they're not around. And you're still like nursing these kids.
But I think the worst part of it all is that if you are, let's say you're a woman that likes to, engage in fornication, that's fine. That's completely fine. You have a huge sexual appetite. You want to go out there, have fun, whatever. That's cool. That's between you and yourself. But why are you having kids for all these guys?
Well, that's the thing.
See, this is where the problem
That's where the
occurs.
problem for her, for sure.
That's where it becomes a problem because it's like you are devaluing yourself in the market, even though you're a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
The fact that you're having multiple kids with multiple baby dads already tells me that you're making bad decisions.
I don't even know where you start. Even if you were going to take the responsibility of a stepdad. Say perfect world, we're like, okay, this guy's going to be a stepdad. There's 3 kids here. 1 doesn't have a father. 2, the father disappeared. So now how do you pivot and take care of 3 different guys' kids, plus trying to cultivate your own relationship, and maybe you want a child as well?
Well, first of all, they're not going to call you daddy. They're gonna.
I'm just saying,
they're going to call
you
you
chaotic.
So not only is it going to be chaotic, you have to understand that these kids will never respect you as their father because you're not their father. You're just a guy that came into the picture. They're going to call you by your first name. Even if they cause trouble in school, there's no repercussions of their
Most
action,
likely you're not going to discipline
right? So you can't discipline them, but yet you're going to be feeding them. It's going to be your money, your dollar that's going into their mouth. It's going to be your dollar that's going into their schooling or whatever extracurricular activities they got going on. Or if they need a vehicle or if they need a ride, it's going to be your time on the clock. But they're not going to respect any of it because you're not the father at the end of the day.
You're not the father.
And so you got to deal with that. And then whatever the mother has to offer, I don't know how much the mother has to offer that you're willing to take on such a big burden.
I think the biggest thing was the baby fathers, the 3 different guys. I think that makes it trouble.
That's a big one.
And I think he said it himself. He has a kid himself. He said he has a kid.
Yeah, one
baby mother. He was saying the deal breakers when you have multiple baby mothers. He said the 4 billion women in the world, I have my pick of the litter. Why would I go after a woman that has 2 baby fathers? So then that's what it came down to, where he's like, I'm just dealing with the ones that have no baby or 1 baby father rather than 2, because now we're getting to a very dangerous zone. And the funny thing is, the next girl that popped it, she had 3 kids, 2 baby fathers. They're all in the same situation. Like I said, the casting call for this show was obviously
very bad. I feel like it was a setup, to be quite honest, because there was another guy that comes in with the same lineup. You come to find out every single one of those women have a kid.
Yes, everyone has a kid.
So all of them have a kid. So you're already hoping, like, you're already setting me up for failure, because
I think you have to spread it out. Don't make all of them have
kids. But that's what I'm saying. You set me up for failure, because how did you make a lineup
of all single mothers?
Of all single mothers. Why am I supposed to pick up the single mother? Imagine if I have no kids.
Yes.
And you're putting me in a lineup of women that have kids. First of all, when I first came on the show, the question you should have asked me is, do you want a woman that has kids?
That's what I'm saying. When you got screened for the show, you should have asked that, and then don't put me on the episode of the ones that have kids.
Definitely not with a whole lineup of women that have kids, because I'm going to deny them and break them down.
But to be fair, maybe that was asked of them. We don't know 100% if that was not said.
That's true.
Do you prefer kids or not? Because there has to be a screening. Because I'd say the show wouldn't make sense if you don't have some type of screening, because you're just going to pick people that are completely incompatible with one another. So I think you do have to put those screenings. But again, you can't anticipate 3 baby dads, 4 baby this, 4 like you get what I mean.
But
Like,
I think
it gets
what
a little
happens is,
crazy.
yeah, you're right about that. But I think there's multiple lineups. Like you don't need to necessarily pick
Be
out
in
of that
yeah,
lineup.
yeah.
So you can pick a different lineup. So I guess it doesn't really matter if you're in that lineup. You could deny all of them. 'Cause I heard some of the women talking about.
Yeah,
well,
you could deny all of
yeah,
them.
but it's like I just want to see what else candidates are going to be coming.
Be
out.
there, yeah. Sometimes they're just trying to see if they can find a better thing there. So sometimes it's not super intentional.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're looking for something that maybe catches their eye. Some people want that, like little that spark moment when they see you and it's like, yeah, that's her, that's the one I want. You know, a lot of people want that spark moment, but I don't think this is the type of show for that. Any reality dating show, I don't believe like that spark or those things are gonna be like incorporated because you don't even know what the motives are on these shows. At the end of the day, some people are here for their own business or their own.
Well, that's why they
clout.
put the Instagram. That's why they put the Instagram links at the end. I mean, at the beginning. I don't know if you noticed that. Yeah, they put. So if you want to look up these girls, you could look. It shows their Instagram.
So then the dating show goes beyond that.
Yeah. So
regardless,
whatever they got going on.
women are gonna get promoted, especially even if like this woman that has the 3 kids.
Yeah. No, her
she
name
probably
came
will
up.
get,
I seen it.
Yeah, so guys can still hit her.
Yeah, they can still hit her up.
Want to get together.
So at the same time, it gives her exposure. So basically, whoever sees her on
whoever
the show,
sees her and is okay with that, and like I said, some guys will be okay with that, I guess, because actually, you know, not to spoil the show, but she actually does get picked up, the woman that had the 3 kids. If you ended up watching the full entire episode, she actually ends up getting picked up by a guy that seems to be very successful, that doesn't have problems with the children. Now, he didn't know about the baby father situation, but that'll be found out later, and they might have a recap and go through the details about that. But I'm interested to know. I'm very curious to know because I don't believe a lot of those scenarios end up working out. I think that, you know, you date these people for a little bit.
Sometimes it doesn't even go as far as that.
And sometimes the date doesn't even happen.
That's what I'm saying. We go to the recap. They don't even end up dating because they get so much DMs
attention from other people.
Yeah, they get so much attention from other people outside of the show because they have their Instagram handle up. That they're like, well, why am I dealing with this guy when I'm seeing all these other candidates that are trying to offer me more, and then they go for that one, and then that doesn't work out. It's like,
honestly, we're in the day and age though with like dating too. Like at the end of the day, like say for example, they go to that lineup. That lineup has like what 10 women, 10 men, right? So you're picking through like 10 different people, and obviously they're random. Like for example, in this case, they had all the women had kids, right? But if you just think about it, like if any of these gentlemen, some of them that are especially good looking or successful, they could have easily just go back home, open up the dating app, and find the same quality of women, especially this lineup.
Oh, yeah.
You could have easily found that. But see, the thing is, if they went on like an app or something, at least they can screen it themselves.
Yeah.
They can put what they like height-wise, don't have children, don't this, don't that. Like you can lay it out where, you know, it's women that you specifically want. Now, not to say that's easy, but obviously this show is not easy neither because a lot of these guys come on these shows or women come on these shows and they don't end up getting a date. So I wouldn't say you go on the show just to get a date. Like if the candidates are a shit batch of candidates, they're shit batch. You're not going to do anything to overcome that. You get what I mean? You only have 10 options. It's a small percentage compared to say like a dating app that has multiple options, and you can obviously play around with that a little bit better than say something like this. So I just believe this is in person, where I guess that's the different angle. You don't usually see 10 people in person, and
I think that's what makes it so intriguing.
Yeah, because it's in person and you're criticizing right then and there.
Yeah.
But again, like the dating premise of the show, not the biggest fan of, just because there's hardly much you can get from a person like a first impression, especially because it's a show, and depending on just saying that it's a show and there's no theme really to it, it's kind of random. Like how you dress, like there's no dress code. They should have did it in a sense where we do dress code. This is how everyone should dress, formal. This is how everyone should dress, casual. But you just see it random. Some people dress funky, some people dress cool, some people dress.
But in a way that would see, the thing is, if they decided to, let's say everybody dress formal when they come to the show, at the same time, if that's not who they are, it doesn't make
doesn't
sense
make a
to
difference, I guess.
it doesn't make no sense to dress formal because
Yeah,
they
but
come
some
out,
people
they're
like you to
a
dress.
certain way.
Yeah, but some people like.
I think
well,
personally,
some of the women would say, "Oh, like, you never came dressed for the occasion." It's like, what's the occasion? It's like, well, we all dressed. Look at all the women on the
Yeah,
board. We all
yeah.
dressed in
No,
dresses.
okay.
You're in shorts.
I get
and a
that.
t-shirt.
So I get that aspect, but what I would say is that
I just feel like you affect the quality of the show. Like if you come with a t-shirt and shorts, and then the women are in dresses, it's like, did you not get
no,
the
definitely,
memo? Like,
definitely. It doesn't look
ruins
like
the quality.
It doesn't look like you're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think personally, from watching how these women pop the balloon based off the most shallowest of things,
Yes.
they
Usually
should.
heights.
I seen them change the format a little bit where you can't even see the guy. It's just based off him talking and hearing the
Yeah, because
personalities.
they notice the women are popping it
Yeah,
way
because
too
they're
quick.
popping it way too quick.
The men actually chill around, so women are more picky naturally off attractive, like off of attraction. They're more picky. So I think they start to notice that most men that were going there, they're getting popped for the most
way too
ridiculous
early.
things.
Just
no socks in the shoes.
Bruh, are you kidding me?
Skinny jeans. The guy, the skinny jeans, like we just seen.
The anime shirt guy.
Anime shirt, pants, blazer, crusty lips, chapped lips.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of
Didn't shave his bald
didn't shave
head
the bald head.
clean.
Yeah, clean bald
What?
shave, bro. Being a police officer.
His voice was it wasn't
low voice.
Yeah, it wasn't masculine enough.
Sometimes the energy.
Yeah.
Bro, how much things have you seen have been like ridiculous? Like, so at the end of the day, women are very picky when it comes to it. So I guess you have to make it where it's like a blind date.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, ma'am, we're only going to show you the man. Like, you're only going to hear what the guy has to say.
Yeah.
We're not going to give you the option of to deny him or not. But at the same time, even when you do that, the woman's going to see what she doesn't like or what she likes. And whatever she likes, she'll go with. What she doesn't like, she's not going to go with.
Yeah, you're right. I guess maybe you want to show a photo of the individual. I don't know.
In person would be that's the only way to determine.
But we're seeing in person, and they're popping the balloon every second. Like they're popping the balloon. Some guys are just coming out, walking out. They're popping the balloon.
Well,
the guy starts opening his mouth. They pop the balloon.
What are they popping the balloon off of? They're popping the balloon thinking that there's better options laying in the back room that's gonna come out next. So why would I then accept the balloon of say like a short guy when a 6'3" guy that looks handsome is gonna potentially come out? So again, women, like there's the saying about the
Kevin said
elevator, like
it was in the mall. Yeah. And then they kept going all the way up.
And they keep going up in the elevator.
And then they went to the last floor. And then they thought there was another floor. But it's like, no, you got to the final floor.
The final floor. There's nothing
up here.
So I think searching for perfection also is a crutch for a lot of women.
I just wanted to clarify that the little story that we're talking about going up in the elevator or the escalator through multiple floors. Where basically the story is talking about women trying to pick a man, and each man is on different floors, and basically with each floor, the man just kept getting better and better. But they were so curious to look at what was going on in the floor after the next floor that they didn't realize that it was gonna come to an end. And as the candidates kept getting better, they kept adding more requirements to the point that they got to the final floor and there was nothing there.
Absolutely. So that's an interesting story like of that. So again, if women know that they have options, I'd suspect the same thing on a dating app, right? If you see a guy that's 5'6" on a dating app and then you're seeing guys that are 6 feet, or well, for that you can even adjust it for yourself, like to put what height you want. But
yeah, you could.
The point of the matter is like, if you have the options of 6-footers and the option of 5'6", you're not going to open yourself up to 5'6". You're going to say to yourself, 5'6" is my last ditch resort, where 6 foot is my preference, right? Yeah. So these women, not to say that they wouldn't date these guys, but they're just like, well, I'm not going to accept yours until I seen like at least majority of the lineup. Like I'm not going to go on a whim on you, let's just say that, compared to a guy that's like, the height they want him to be and the stature they want him to be. She's just going to take that risk then and there and be like, I'm not waiting to see what's next because this is looking pretty good. So sometimes when you have options, that's why, like, yeah, if you're shorter on these type of shows, unfortunately, you're like the scapegoat. Most women will pop your balloon first because the fact of height. I've seen one guy that was on the show, and every single girl popped his balloon because his height. They said, like, I'm taller than you. I'm taller than you. I'm taller. You're short. I don't date short guys. So he had absolutely no chance with any of the girls because all the other men beside him are a lot taller.
So yeah, that's also a problem when you match them up with
Guys that are not the same kind of physique
caliber. Physique, you're gonna lose. Every time.
You're gonna lose every time. If you put girls that are fit against girls that are unfit,
they're gonna lose every time.
The one that are unfit are not getting picked.
Because the thing is, we don't know your personality, and I'm not gonna find out your personality.
So it's only physical. Yeah, it's only the physical.
It's physical appearance, right?
So that does shoot somebody in the foot that's a shorter person because it's like, well, we're just judging on physical, right? Well, I'm definitely not gonna pick a 5'6" guy over a 6-footer. Like, let's just be real. Like, you know, unless this guy's like gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous, 5'6" or whatever, chiseled, this and that. And even then, he still might not overcome an average guy that's like 6'2", right? Like, you know, just off of the fact of genetics, just off of the facts of protection, masculinity. Like, these are things that come and tie into the size of a person. The bigger you are, the stronger you are. That's masculine, right?
Yeah.
The smaller you are, the fragile you are. That seems to be more feminine.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, women, there are still women that abide by those rules and those codes. So they're gonna say you're too short. You're too. Not to say that, you know, you can't get any other women, but you definitely can't get me. That's what the women.
That's it. I mean, I guess for short kings, I would say that sometimes they're just looking in the wrong.
Go after what likes you. Go after what likes you. At the end of the day, go after what likes you. Me, I'm not like the most tallest of guys. I'm like 5'9", 5'10". So I'm not gonna chase a woman that's 6'2". Like, it's just common sense. I'm not gonna go after that because that history hasn't shown that that's where I'm winning.
Yeah, that's not
history hasn't shown me that. So you have to go off your own history and go where you win. Go with what likes you. Sometimes not with what you like, because sometimes with going after what you like ends up causing you more grief and hurt and pain because
100%.
you're gonna have to deal with a lot of rejection.
100%. And I think that's all I got for this.
Yeah, man, that's all I got. It's
interesting.
Great video.
Definitely a great video to dissect, just because there's so much to
unpack. And such a small video, to be fair. But it's just like sometimes we sit here and we just have to laugh at some of these requirements and baggage that like a lot of these people come with. And there's, like I said, there's gonna be men that are on this show that have the same baggage as well. And feel free to rip them if you want to. If you want to start your own podcast, start ripping men, go ahead and do that. But this is far from normal, and we do what we want. That's
Definitely. We're not gonna hold back just because, you know, we know women and stuff of that sort. Again, we speak freely here, and we speak direct and bluntly. So, I mean, you could take her however you want to take it. The girls that do mess with me will continue to mess with me regardless of my thought process, regardless of my ideology. And the ones that don't, well, you didn't matter to begin with.
Let's get
it. It's Proper Double Podcast, and we are out.
Salute. Salute.
I'm just trying to get my